Go.
And so what we're talking about as opposition to a lot of these plans that have so many potential bad effects is we want to discuss some of the alternatives and some of the solutions that we can work around. And we don't have all of the solutions identified right now, and we don't have any idea that there will be one big solution to dealing with climate change. But we know the essential elements that are there. And one of the essential things that our organizations and our groups and our peoples around the world are saying is that the principles that we deal with climate change have to be just and fair and equitable. And so one of the basic things that that we have to deal with is the humongous impact of some of the major countries around the world are having on other countries. And these are the ones that have the biggest say in the climate change negotiations, even though they're going to be not as affected as other populations. And it's going to be some of our indigenous populations around the world that are going to be most affected. It's going to be some of the small island states that are going to disappear that are going to be about the most affected. Other countries are going to get washed away, or some of our, for example, peoples in the north are going to lose their traditional homelands and territories because of the impacts on climate change. So part of what we're talking about is that our peoples need to have the most representation, but also have the most support in dealing with climate change. They need to be there at the discussion tables at all levels to document, these are the very real effects of climate change are having on our peoples, but they also need there to be there to say, we need support in building capacity for our peoples to deal with the effects of climate change into the future. And so that's one very real aspect of supporting people actually already dealing with climate change on the ground. But the other major thing is that we have these countries need to take a humongous responsibility for dealing with climate change, and we need to really be focused on complete change of lifestyle and change of society across the board. It's going to be a very radical change that we need to see happen, and it's not really a question of whether it is going to happen. It's going to be how it happens and how quickly it happens. Because whether it's 50 years from now or 100 years from now, we're going to have to see massive changes in the way our society lives and conducts itself. Is going to be the only way that our societies are going to be able to survive. And what we're talking about is getting away from a fossil fuel infrastructure that has so many damaging effects, not only for our people because of the climate change effects, but also from the extraction. I mean, that's why we're gathered here in Nevada, is discussing some of the effects that these explorations, oil explorations and other mining explorations are having on indigenous populations. And so it's going to be meaning get away from those kind of dependency on fossil fuels, but it's also going to mean changing our energy use patterns and becoming a lot less energy dependent in the first place, becoming a lot less dependent upon so much consumption as a model for our economy. And it's going to be relying a lot more on bringing our ecology into our economy and becoming a lot more able to reduce our ecological footprint and sort of become used to using the very limited resources that we actually have on this world. So it's going to call for massive changes in our levels of consumption and production, and very much change to our lifestyles in the north. It was at the same time as bringing equity and justice to populations all across the world.